Oklahoma's recommended visitation schedule from birth to 9 months of age. I'm Tulsa attorney James Wirth. That's the topic that we have. I'm doing a series of videos related to the advisory guidelines for visitation. This goes back to the law passed in 2004 that created a new section of the law that says that there should be guidelines promulgated regarding what is recommended, what was recommended to be the best interest of the children. The idea is to do what's best for children and also provide uniformity from judge to judge and county to county, but these are only recommendations or only guidelines, suggestions. Each judge can make the determination of what's in the best interest of the children. Nonetheless, we do have these advisory guidelines, and they are broken out by age, and the first age they talk about is birth to 9 months. So what are the considerations they talk about there? They talk about historically there was a time where it was believed that a baby forms a significant attachment with an individual person that grows over a period of time, and that it's best not to disrupt that early in the child's age. That has since gone out of favor. Now it's believed that babies form multiple attachments and can form multiple strong attachments with different people, and therefore there's not a reason to deny a secondary parent or a non-custodial parent visitation very early on. So what we're looking at as recommendations now, and it also notes that in part of the guidelines that it is sex or gender neutral. It says that fathers are just as capable of parenting infants as mothers are. It's not the sex of the parent that is the issue, but rather the parent's desire to be responsibly involved in the care and development of their child. So, given that that is the case, it is important because of the age of the child to have frequent contact with both parents. So it notes that infants learn at a rapid rate. They learn to love and trust familiar caregivers. They form attachments to others through consistent loving responses such as holding, playing, feeding, soothing, gently, talking gently, and meeting their needs promptly. Because of that, infants should have frequent contact with both parents and a predictable schedule and routine. Infants have a very limited capacity to remember an absent parent. Thus, the frequency of contacts is the focus for this time period of the child's life. Notes that at about 6 months, infants begin to recognize their own parents and can become anxious and uneasy around strangers. So if both parents have had contact from birth, you want to continue that and have a good amount of contact with both parents, and you want to go back and forth so that neither parent is away from the child for very long. If the non-custodial parent or the secondary custodial parent has not been involved since birth, then it may make sense not to start with overnight visitation, but to start with blocks of period during the day and then expand that over time before you get to overnights to allow the child to learn and become accustomed to the new parent. Yeah, it does note that although they can form strong attachments to both parents, it is common that there could be a stronger attachment to one parent, and therefore you want to avoid disruption of that relationship with that parent. So obviously visitation going back and forth, being away from either parent for an extended amount of time is bad, but it could also be worse according to these recommendations and guidelines to be away from the primary parent for an extended amount of time. Lastly, it notes that communication between the parents regarding what's going on with the child is important, and it recommends keeping a daily communication log and exchange between the parents, noting sleeping habits, eating, diapering, and medicine schedules. So that is the recommendation from the advisory guidelines in the state of Oklahoma. They're just guidelines, though. They're not rules. Ultimately, the judge in your case is going to determine what's in the best interest of the children. But if you've got positions that mirror what is in here that you want to advocate to the court, this can be good precedent to show to the court. If you're dealing with this circumstance, though, don't just take this video. Talk to an attorney privately and confidentially to get legal advice. To get that scheduled with an attorney at my office, you can go online to makelawEasy.com.